Hello there, I'm the Base Manager and welcome back to Space Engineers. Now, today we are going to put our fuel drone to the ultimate task. We are going to move our capital ship away from the fueling station towards the gold asteroids that we have found earlier so that we can collect all of that. And we are going to set up a few extra waypoints once we reach there, and we are going to activate our fuel drone. Now, in between episodes I did some improvements to the drone itself. First, the obvious, small paint job. I never paint my my creations, and you know, this time I thought to myself, you know what, yeah, this is a fuel drone, so I'm going to give it a this is a fueling carrying vehicle, so I'm going to give it a paint job to match, and a few panels so that people know who this belongs to, so they don't mess with it. After all, we should have some reputation for being a little bit destructive at times, even though peaceful as well. And of course the danger sign warning everybody that this is a flammable vehicle and they should probably not come near it and shoot it at the same time. Right, so now the less obvious thing is that, well, I added a second remote control underneath this antenna, so that we have two remote controls. One to dock the ship, pretty much to return the ship from wherever it might be in the universe to this place and dock it, and the other so that it undocks the ship and takes it to wherever we feel like we need it, right? The only thing that we have to do is mark a waypoint to add to that secondary remote control. Now, let's take a look at this, because it's locked, it doesn't appear in there. I just want to go into the control panel. Let's take a look at the timer blocks. So we added a few extra timer blocks. One timer block to engage the docking remote control, which is this one. If you go over here, pretty much just makes sure that the docking is facing forward, because if you recall from last episode, we have to focus to face the remote control downwards to lock the ship in place. So we want it to be forward so that the ship doesn't fly funny. Collision avoidance on and precision mode on, just to make sure. And then it activates the autopilot, making sure that the ship returns to this place. For this one, we don't need to add any additional waypoints. The ones that exist should be more than enough. Then, as it approaches on the last waypoint, it should activate all of these timer blocks. The first timer block will lock the ship in place, and then activate the second timer block, which will then shut off the engines, put the batteries on recharge, and fill up the fuel tanks. So if we engage the unlock timer block to activate the remote control to take the ship away, now after it gets recharged and filled up, let's take a look over here. It's going to turn off the collision avoidance of the remote control, because over here it's close to the ground and it might behave funny. And then it's going to activate precision mode on and start the first timer block. The first timer block will remove the batteries from recharge, will remove the tanks from stockpile, and will activate the ion thrusters. And then we'll make sure that the remote control for the docking procedures is facing forward. It is just to make sure that this remote control is always facing in the right direction. And it starts the second timer block, which will unlock the ship and activate the autopilot. Before we do this, however, we have to add the waypoint to the autopilot, but that's pretty much it. And this was the solution that I found to have pretty much the ship remember the waypoints. Otherwise we would have to set up the waypoints every time we wanted the ship to go meet us and to come back, and that would be a little bit counterproductive, right? So now that we have that, I already tested it a bunch of times. It works all the time, so it worked 4 times, okay? That's how much I tested it. So yeah. we are done with this place. It was nice meeting you, but now we must go. We have things to do, so anything that we might want to do there, we can do it remotely. So let me just prepare the ship to depart, and let's move to new, more bountiful harvesting grounds. Okay, so we have stowed away all the vehicles, everything is pressurized, beautiful, that's what we like. Now, once we reach our final destination, my friends, we are going to do some modifications to our ship. Tiny little modification. We need to add a fuel port. I need to convert you into station. Okay, we need to convert you into ship. There we go. Let's turn on all of our engines. Beautiful. Now, hopefully, nothing bad will happen. Since last time, I am always a little bit concerned, shall we say, every time I go to move the ship. We never know what kind of pieces might get loose, but it would seem that everything is just fine. Okay, so hopefully everything is okay in here, and we don't have to come back, because it would be a long journey. And all the things that we need to do we'll be able to set up remotely, so fingers crossed. Everything will go according to plan, and now I have a 5-minute journey ahead of me. I will see you guys once we reach our final destination. Okay, my friends, so we have arrived, and I have found the most interesting of things. Look at this. Look at this. As you can see, the chamber is pressurizing, but not really. And then I do this, and the door opens. What? What? It's my mind. I don't understand. I thought for a moment the sensor was somehow like reaching this area, but no. Nope, the door is just being derpy. Okay, so no pressurization for us during transit, I suppose. Sure. I don't know. It's one of those things. You know what? It's the game being the game. Now I'm going to play the most game of stupid things, right? I just pressurized this hangar only to 5 minutes later depressurize it, but well, please disregard that. It's just that I like to do things this way. I kinda like to imagine that there is a crew over here, even though there is not. So, we might have reached our destination, but we didn't came here to mine. Well, I came in here to mine in between episodes. This is just going to be the final destination for this episode, for this craft. We have to test the blimp, so we had to move away. This was a very good location as any other, so why not? Now, before we do anything with the Fuel Express, there is one thing that we must do, and that is create the fuel port for our vessel. Now, the way that I'm going to do that is quite simple. I'm going to do it as simple and as minimalist as possible in order not to mess with the lines of the ship too much. We are going to add a junction right here. In fact, if I have the plates, I can start building. Yeah, how about... No. So we are going to have a conveyor junction right there, right? And then that's going to be followed up by one of these, one piston. On top of the piston, we are going to add one of these, a connector, right? This is going to be our connector to the outside, and then we are going to, let me see, it's this block right there, right? This block right here. We are going to add... yes, okay. We are going to add a airtight hangar door right here. Right in this place. Let's see, do I have these in my hotbars? Or or have I replaced them with a bunch of guns? I replaced them with a bunch of guns. Alright, here we go. Hangar door right there, and everything is welded over here as well. So test number 1, will this path through, or will it explode in a ton of little bits? Time to discover that. Please don't clang on anything. Also, the ship has been converted into a station, and it's ultra heavy, so forces shouldn't be applied too much. Okay, it can move through there, no problem. And this is disappointing. This is as far as you are going to take it, really? Alright, alright, alright. Okay, my friends, so for the second variant of the fuel port, I just added a few more conveyor junctions. Now, I'm pretty sure that is going to move through, no problem. I added a few extra timer blocks, 2 right there, ouch, and 2 right there, 2 for the opening sequence and 2 for the closing sequence. However, I still haven't set them up, so let's do that right now. I want to start with the fuel port open 1, delay 1. So this one is going to open the hangar door, and it's going to activate the port number 2. Now in the port number 2 we are going to give it 10 seconds for the opening sequence of the hangar door, and then after those 10 seconds have elapsed, I want you to reverse the piston, just like so. Pretty simple, right? Now the same in reverse for the closing sequence. The close one activates immediately and reverse the piston. This one. Reverse and activate the timer block number 2. There we go. Start, close 2, and then the close 2 is just delay 10 seconds, delay 1 second. Okay, after 10 seconds, all I want you to do is to close the hangar door. So please, just like so. Now let me close this hangar door so that we can test everything. And I have built another button panel right here. I'm going to transfer the commands from that one, which is to open the hangar doors and deconstruct it. We don't have any pathing over there. And I'm going to also add the commands to open and close the fuel port. And here we go, just like magic, this thing has been set up. Now let's just test everything. Let's open the hangar doors and let's open the fuel port. So let's see if everything goes according to plan. The fuel port is opening. And well, 10 seconds appeared to be the precise time that we needed. And now this thing should go outside, no problem. We don't need this thing to stick too much, but just a little bit, enough to give us a little bit of wiggle maneuvering. There we go, that's good enough, you know, for a refueling job. Then we bring the blimp, we attach it right there, transfer the fuel, detach the blimp, send it on its way, and, you know, then close the hangar doors. So, not the hangar doors, the fuel port. So let's do the closing sequence right now. Close fuel port, close hangar doors. So let's see. Now the 10 seconds might not be enough for this thing to retract fully. Oh boy, oh boy. This. Oh, almost disaster. Okay, maybe 10 seconds is a little bit too. No. Let's give it 15 seconds. And even though we got a near miss, nothing bad happened. The timer block is now correctly set up, and this is not like too bad of a scar in the aesthetics of the ship. Like if you look far away, you barely notice it. So I think I'm pleased with this, so next in line would be to set up the blimp route, right? So let's give it a waypoint somewhere around here, far enough away from the ship. I kind of want to do the final approach by myself, so let's just give it a GPS. There we go. So now let me get myself in a pressurized environment, like this cockpit. Let's go into the Shift K menu. Fuel station. Control. Let's change the camera around. It's this camera. Okay, now let's go over here. This is a little bit stressful as this is going to be the first final test. But over here in the undocking, we want to add waypoint test. Add. Let's go over here. Dock 1, Dock 2 action is to engage the collision thingy, and then waypoint test. So now, if I go into the timer blocks and do the timer block undock engage, fingers crossed, everything goes according to plan. So, so far, so good. Nope, wrong way. Let's point towards the next waypoint to see if the ship actually moves away from there. Okay, that's good enough. So, once it reaches that waypoint, it should start moving away from here and not get stuck or anything. The collision avoidance should be more than enough for that thing not to collide with any asteroid. And besides, we came from there with our capital ship and there was no asteroid on the way, so I'm pretty confident nothing bad is going to happen, at least this time. Okay, it would appear that it started moving away. It's whoa, we can hear the engines from here. Interesting. So I suppose that now all that we need to do is wait for the fuel express to come to us. What in God's name is this? What? Oh, okay. Explosions might occur. This is probably the weirdest thing I have ever seen. You were retracted fully, so I don't know what happened. Pretty cool that we can observe the final approach from our crew quarters, sitting down on our table, witnessing this event. Pretty cool. So, what have we learned? That this is a viable method of bringing fuel to our ship so that we don't have to waste so much time mining for it. However, we have to build relay stations along the way. There must be a relay station every 50 kilometers, otherwise this is not going to work and the ships are going to get lost in space. Okay, so now that the blimp is here, let's control it. Okay, and this is not exactly the best camera angle in the world. I grinded down our seat. Major mistake. Time to rebuild it. Okay dokie, so with our seat back in its place, let's keep doing what we were doing. So, cargo drone, because we have two AIs, it doesn't allow us to control directly from there, but we can go into... Well, okay, doesn't allow me to go into terminal because I'm already in the terminal. Dum-dum, doesn't matter, we have control now. So this part we must do it manually, and I rather do it manually. Because, you know, otherwise we would have to set up the waypoints, and I don't know if I can be trusted to do that with any degree of accuracy. So now let me just park this thing and transfer the fuel. Are you getting shy? Are you? You don't want to come out today? Is that it? Okay. Things are not going as smooth as I wanted. Well, for now it got fixed just by building a ramp instead of a full block, but I don't understand. It moved through the first time, but now it doesn't want to move through. Oh well, it It's one of those things. We are playing with fire when we do these kinds of things, so I suppose it should be expected. Okay, so now we connect. The ship is connected, pretty cool. Now we must move from this ship into our control seat and put the tanks on refill, so that we drain the fuel from there. Okay. That's very interesting. Wow. So... things are like... yeah. Yeah, okay. What in God's name was going on? What? I don't... I can't even. Like... Wow. So the ship is a station, it's not moving or anything. Like, if it was moving, I kind of would understand, like, weird forces at play and whatnot. But that thing is fixed in space. I don't know. Okay, so this time I turned off the thrusters. Let's give it another go. Let's go into the control station, and hopefully this time things will not wiggle around like crazy. Alright, so we have our tanks completely filled up. Pretty cool. We didn't have had a lot of space to start with. We had like 10%, which is one empty tank. So we didn't drain it completely, but that's fine. For the purpose of this test, that's a success, I suppose. Now this is the connector for the fuel port. So let's disconnect that. Let's go into the Shift K menu. Cargo drone. Must go terminal first, then we go into the undocking one, which was the one that I was using. We control it, and we turn on the engines. Let me just see one thing. Yeah, this one is backwards. Let me just fix this. This was being a little bit annoying while I was testing, so... yeah, one of those things that I forgot to do. Now it's perfectly reasonable. Engines on. We move the ship away a little bit. Okay, that's it. Right, and now, if we let go of the remote control, go back into the Shift K menu, terminal, and now all we need to do is do the timer block, dock, engage, and it should go back home by itself. So finger crossed, nothing bad happens. So start ho, and off it goes by itself. Bye bye, fuel blimp, or fuel express, the blimp. We still have to give you a proper name, but for now you have done your job. So now hopefully it will attach correctly. Once it arrives, we will use the cameras there to make sure that everything went according to plan. Okay, so now using the camera from the ice rig, we can see that the Fuel Express is now on its final approach. I am eager to see if that thing is going to... I'm pretty sure it's going to lock. All the tests that I did, it did lock in place, but now we are not there to fix the issue, if there is one, so that's the time when they are most probable to happen. Okay, so here we go. Please show us green. Green, 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 come on, and there we go. So now the blimp is parked, getting fueled up, recharged, and the next time that we need fuel, all that we need to do is set up a waypoint and ask the Fuel Express / blimp to come to our destination and refuel our capital ship. Alright, my friends, so now that we have verified that everything is working properly with our Fuel Express, I think it is time for us to move into other things. And now, the time that we spent over there showed us one thing. Our drone, the Pebble, the drone that we can remote control, is not exactly the best suited for combat, right? It may be a fast scouting drone, but when it comes to dealing some punishment, I don't think that thing can handle it. So Here's what we are going to do. Given that the game gave us new blocks, new weapon blocks in fact, I was thinking that maybe we could use some of those new blocks to create a new drone to replace the pebble when it comes to the combat role, at least the part that we control. In this episode we still are not going to design the auto drone. I want to dedicate a full episode to that, given that we'll have to mess with some of the some scripts, things that I don't really have a lot of experience with, and so I kind of want to have the time to go around and do that. But with that in mind, I think it is time for me to start using the printer that we have over there to build the drone. After all, those are the best measurements that we could ever have, instead of just making a rotor on the floor. I think this is far better, so we are going to start like this, right? And this is going to be a heavy armor drone. Given that the pebble got knocked out of the sky so quickly, I think that having a little bit more armor will probably help us out. And besides, we don't have to weld it, the machine will weld it for us, so it's perfectly fine using heavy armor blocks, at least on the drone. So, time for me to stop talking and yapping my mouth and see what I can actually come up with the new drone. my friends, I think this thing is almost done. There is just a few blocks that I want to add over here on the back, but I can't because of the welding arm. But it's just the same as we have over here, but replicated on this side. And other than that, I just need to push the small merge block. In fact, I'm just going to grind it out. There's no point in welding this, because I want to attach it where the merge block for the piston arm is. But other than that, it's pretty much done. So let's just cover this up. The camera will still go over there, and for now we are going to leave it like this. So I have a bunch of materials in storage. I'm pretty sure I have most of the stuff that I need to build this. I'm just going to put a few more things in production, and then we are going to turn on the welders and give it a pass through there and see if the welders can weld everything. Alright, my friends, moment of truth. So let's turn on the welders, then let's reverse the skeleton thingy through the welding. Ah, come on, game, I measured that. That thing should not happen. You allow me to go through there. God damn it, I hate you, game. No, I think the problem was not the welding or the rover. It is just the piston being a little bit of a dum-dum. If we force it through it, if we give it enough strength, it will move. Okay, good to know. Go to the other side, please. Then let's see if everything is welded properly. I think it is this tiny little bit of gravity. It's applying too much horizontal force to the piston, and it could not move because of that, for some reason. I don't understand sometimes. I mean, there is nothing like forcing the game to do what we wanted. I mean, what possibly could happen from that, right? What possibly could explode? I don't know. All I know is that that is well, just it can barely fit. But at the same time, this was not supposed to be a light drone, right? It was supposed to be a little bit more of a heavy combat drone. So I suppose that it's fitting that this thing barely fits, but in any case, it is done, it is ready, I'm pretty sure. Let's take a look over here. I'm going to take a look through the block list and see if there is anything unwelded. Other than one battery that I had the battery components missing. Other than that, everything is welded. The battery is now welded as well. Yeah, I don't feel very comfortable with this thing, the way this thing behaves, but hey, it works. I'm not going to question it. And truth be told, for a drone, for a heavy combat drone that is, this thing is not half bad looking, so I'm going to take the win. Let's detach it. Whoa, before we go in there and before we weld our head to the helmet permanently. I heard that's a bad injury to have. Let's turn off the welders. We don't want to cause any discomfort to our engineer, even though... Come on, bro. I know this is a tight space over here. That's not the one I want. Not that. It's that one. Yeah, it is. There we go. So now the ship is disconnected. We can control it. We have to be careful because I assume this thing has quite the acceleration with those two big engines over there. But other than that, cool. Time to rename stuff, create groups, you know the drill, the regular stuff. Okie dokie, my friends. So, quick paint job later. I just painted everything black and the turrets I removed the color. So, pretty simple. It's more as a form of camouflage, right? So that the enemies have a harder time seeing us against the darkness of space. They will only see the muzzle flashes of impending doom coming their way. But enough sweet words. Let me just put myself inside of the cockpit, place where I know it's safe. Let's go like this. Let's give it a try. Hopefully I won't crash against anything. Off it goes. It can come to a full halt by itself. Turn it to the cockpit. Okay, let's give it a good acceleration. It's not terrible. Could be worse, I suppose. Gyros wise, it's pretty cool. Goes pretty well. I think it has only 2 gyros. Yeah. Side to side, how are we? A tad bit slow, but in combination with the forward engines, it's more than enough to give us all the thrust that we need to dodge and weave around the battlefield. Okay, still not exactly as mobile as the Bevel, but still not the worst thing. Now, my friends, the million-dollar question is, will this thing fit inside of the hangars that we built for the auto drones? I don't think this thing will fit in the Pebble hangar, so that's probably the second best place where we could put it. I don't want to have more than one, to be honest, of these things. These are they are quite expensive, and until we test them out, I don't want to go too crazy on materials. But this is going to be a very delicate operation. So I will see you in a little bit, or in the in a large bit, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to take forever, at least just the first time, until I get used to it. And there we go. See? Absolutely no problem whatsoever. Pretty cool. Let's go. This control. Now, we don't... it's not the best of connections, but we still have a little bit of room, so absolutely no problem whatsoever. This thing fits perfectly inside of the hangar that we built for the auto drones, which means that we can even base the auto drones off of this design. Just probably need to update the firepower a little bit. It doesn't need the... it only needs turrets and not these things, the autocannons. These are for player control. Now, we don't need to worry too much about filling this thing with ammo. Probably could notice it during the time-lapse, but I built a sorter over there, somewhere. So we go like this, sorter, small conveyor sorter, yeah. So, into the panel. I think this is the first sorter of the entire capital ship, so pretty simple. Only thing that we need to do is change from blacklist to whitelist and put the autocannon magazines inside of that particular list. And now I'm sure that if I go like this and search for cargo, yeah, every single small cargo container is not yet filled up. It's still filling up. Is either that or I have ran out of ammunition. So let's go over here, auto cannon. Oh yeah, I ran out of ammunition. I just need to build more. Pretty cool. We have a surplus of autocannon magazines now. Even the conveyor sorter has stuff in it. There we go, small conveyor sorter. So we can assume that the drone is fully loaded. Now, all that we have to do is wait a little bit until an enemy shows itself for us to go test that thing out. And well, while I wait, I think I'm going to try to solve one of our issues, the fuel issue. The fuel issue derives from the fact that well, we have the hydrogen engines running all the time, and that's no bueno. They oh no, these are a gravity generator. They are constantly consuming fuel, and given that now we have a bunch of locations for the uranium, I thought to myself that we could do a few of these small reactors. Or large reactors? I mean, I don't want to overkill it. One large reactor could probably supply us with all the power that we need, and it would look rather neat over here. So yeah, I think I'm going to focus myself a little bit on this, and eventually a pirate is bound to show up. Well, never for the life of me did I thought that I needed to mine rock Gravel is actually a component needed to make reactor components. Ah, okay. We are almost done in here, but I'm quite concerned that I have these things rolling without the reactor done. Because these things are quite power hungry, as you can see. 32 megawatts, that's far too much in comparison to the production that we have. If we go, oh, I bet you that our batteries are getting drained fast. Yep. Yes, they are. 1 hour of power. That is not going to be good. No, but oh well. I suppose that all that I need to do is go mine a little bit of rock, and I'll have all the gravel that I need. So yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Finally, someone shows up. Boy, I've been recording for a little while now. After all, I have to grab stone and stuff like that, and I also took some time to mine some gold, as we have just built over 2000 superconductors, so yeah, that required a little bit of gold, but in any case, it's been a while and no one was showing up. But now, finally, we do have an enemy to go after, so let me undock this, create a blueprint of this thing. Hopefully I can point in the right direction. It would appear so that I have the right thingy. I'm going to put myself in a safe location and I'm going to go after those guys over there. Okay, my friends, so we are coming within fire range. I'm just going to try to do a quick hit and run. Let's go! I think that's good enough for a test. Let's see what kind of damage did we suffer, and maybe we might even finish off that freighter with our frigate if it decides to come any closer. Here we go, frigate being deployed. Time to go get ourselves a few pirates. It's their fault after all. They were the ones that came awful close to our position, so time to go get them and experiment with some of the new functions, like the... Okay. Alright, my friends, so we are now approaching, and according to... let's see... not yet. Okay, so now we get that target reticle over there. One of you mentioned in the comment section a video by Look at the Guide. It's a quick video about this new function. So pretty much whenever a reticle appears, you can right-click it to lock on. Once you are locked on, you can give that target to your guns. And now that your guns have a new target, they will use their maximum range instead of the AI range of 800 meters. So our artillery cannons should start unloading pretty soon, and the autocannons as well. And because we are so far away, there is nothing they can do. And we can just sit in here and appreciate the moment. And we can even, you know, start backing down if they get too close to us. But as long as we are within the 1.4 meter range, we can just blast these fools, and their puny little turrets can do nothing. So I would say I'm just going to sit in here for a little while and pound at them from afar. going all over the place. They think they lost part of the power or thrust. All I know is that they are completely crazy. Well, my friends, I think that thing is dead in the water. It's just that there is still a bunch of blocks, but I think the velocity that this thing is gaining is due to the impacts of the shells on the structure of the ship, and no longer just the whoa, a bunch of debris. Because we already give it quite the pounding, and there is very little left of this ship. So let's give it one final look. I have a few things colliding with me. Fine. Right, as we can see, like that thing is just completely obliterated. We are just destroying blocks simply because we want to completely annihilate them, but we already spent all the ammunition that we had, so time to turn tail and go back home. So pretty much we spent, yeah, oh boy, we spent like over 10 kilometers chasing them and obliterating them into pieces. So well, it was pretty successful, and this time we did not take a single point of... well, I mean, we took some damage simply from debris colliding with our ship as we were chasing them, but not a single bullet was fired by the enemy, so that's a win in my book. Alright, my friends, let's assess the damage that we have suffered. Yeah, we lost maybe a little bit of things. One turret is well, pretty much this entire side got stripped down and heavily destroyed. Luckily the batteries are still intact, otherwise this thing would be dead in the water. I mean, it's a drone, right? Even though it's a heavily armored drone, it's still a drone. No way a drone should be able to take on a capital ship by itself, or in this case on a large grid ship by itself, right? These things are always supposed to be quasi-disposable, or you know, you use them a little bit to scare them off, and then if you want you can finish off the remainings with a large grid ship. But in any case, I'm going to put it on the welder slap the blueprint on and repair that thingy. And there we go! Attached and ready to be welded. Now it's just a matter of putting the projection on. That is probably going to be a tad bit difficult. I still haven't set up the projector properly, so give me one moment, please. Okay, so I think the print is correctly lined up. Let's turn on the welders, and hopefully I'll have all the resources available. I have a ton of components that I have been producing over time. You know, every time I go into the build planner and I have something to build, I usually build it twice to accumulate resources precisely for moments like this. So please, could you please repair everything? You are clearly missing the turret, my friends. I think that I have to put the turrets myself. They might be colliding with the window. Like, I don't know how, but maybe. There is a little bit of collision between the turret and the window, and that's why it doesn't put the thing in place. Well, not the worst thing in the world. I can live with that. So let's reverse the piston. Everything should be golden. Let's just take a look at the projector. Complete. Perfect. Cool. We can actually park the new drone in the pebble connector. Pretty nice. We don't need to use the rear hangars that we have built for the auto drones. So, pretty cool. Okay. But oh well, my friends, I think this is going to be enough for one day. Enough droning, that is. This thing is not bad, to be honest. It could use a little bit of work, maybe a few more braking thrusters, but other than that, it's pretty zippy. It accelerates fast, it just brakes really slow, and that's like my main concern. But firepower-wise, it's average. It's okay, you know. It's a drone after all, it should not have a lot of firepower. Armor-wise, it's pretty cool. We didn't lose the camera, even though we came close to it, but this double panel of windows held up tight, and we were able to drive the drone back home for repair, so we didn't lose it, but we just lost a few bits here and there, so it wasn't exactly that costly to repair it. So I'm pretty happy with that. Not only that, but of course the most obvious thing that we tested out and made sure that the Fuel Express is actually working. But with all of that said, I hope that you have enjoyed this episode and that you are enjoying the series so far. If you are, please consider subscribing and help the channel grow. In the meantime, this is the Base Manager signing out. Bye bye!